the night Kendrick Lamar dropped what would become his most talked about song. The world felt it shift, at least. That's what his closest friends would later claim. Whispers started even before the track hit streaming platforms, rumors swirling that Kendrick was about to air out secrets so personal, so raw, even his own family begged him not to go through with it. Picture this. It's 2 a.m. in Los Angeles. Social media explodes with cryptic messages from Kendrick's inner circle. His longtime producer posts a single emoji in hourglass while Kendrick's brother simply writes, "Tonight, everything changes." Fans are shocked, hunting for clues, dissecting every leaked lyric that surfaces. Then, as the clock strikes midnight, the song drops, and the drama unfolds. Almost instantly. Blogs light up with wild speculation. Is Kendrick calling out a famous rapper? Is he confessing to a betrayal no one saw coming? Within hours, screenshots of angry Ms. and emotional tweets from fellow artists circulate. In the Lamar household, emotions run high. Sources close to the family reveal heated arguments, accusations, and a silence so deep you could hear a pin drop. The stakes. Nothing less than Kendrick's reputation, the trust of his family, and the loyalty of millions of fans worldwide. As the dust settles, one thing is clear. This is more than a song, it's the spark that ignites a firestorm. And nobody will escape unscathed, as the first verse of Kendrick's song echoed through streaming apps. The world seemed to freeze. People stopped scrolling, fans held their breath, and industry insiders frantically texted each other, their phones lighting up with rumors and hot takes. The opening line wasn't just music, it was a confession, a revelation so raw that even the most loyal Kendrick fans felt a knot in their stomachs. Kendrick Lamar, the poet of pain and resilience, was about to rip open old wounds. And no one, absolutely no one, was prepared for the story that would unfold. Within minutes, reaction. Videos started pouring in from around the globe. Fans cried on camera, some silent and stunned, others ranting into their phones about the betrayal and truth bombs Kendrick just dropped. Twitter became a battlefield, with stans fiercely defending their idol, while others accused him of crossing a line. In the midst of this chaos, one tweet went viral. He finally said it. The truth about his past, about the people who hurt him. Damn. Replies flooded in, with some demanding receipts and others offering words of support. Everywhere, emotions ran high. And even those who barely followed hip-hop couldn't help but get sucked into the drama. But what made this song so different? So much more explosive than Kendrick's previous tracks. It wasn't just the lyrics, though those alone could set fire to the internet. It was the story behind them, a web of secrets, betrayals, and hidden agendas that had been building for years, just waiting to be exposed. For years, there had been whispers in the industry. Stories of friendships that turned sour, rivalries that grew bitter, and family members who carried grudges like ancient scars. This time, Kendrick wasn't holding back. He rapped about a brother who lied to his face, about a producer who stole from him, about a lover who vanished one cold December night. And as he spun this tale of pain and redemption, the real-life players behind these bars realized their secrets weren't safe anymore. In one haunting line, Kendrick rapped, "I watched my own blood turn his back on me for gold. Loyalty ain't thicker than greed." Instantly, speculation exploded. Fans dug through old interviews, searching for clues about who this blood might be. YouTube commentators, always hungry for drama, replayed every family appearance Kendrick ever made, trying to decode tense body language or clipped answers. Some said he was talking about his cousin, who'd been quietly dropped from his entourage months ago. Others insisted it had to be his brother, who'd recently unfollowed Kendrick on Instagram. The mystery only added fuel to the fire, as everyone desperately tried to piece together the truth. while the fans were busy theorizing. Those closest to Kendrick were reeling. A friend of the family, who asked not to be named, described the scene inside the Lamar household as tense and heartbroken. Apparently, when the song dropped, Kendrick's mother called him in tears, begging him to explain. His brother stormed out, refusing to answer any calls, while cousins started messaging each other, debating whether to respond publicly or keep quiet. It wasn't just a song anymore. It was a family crisis playing out in front of millions. Meanwhile, industry insiders were scrambling to get ahead of the fallout. Kendrick's longtime producer, a man usually known for his cool head, was overheard shouting into his phone at a well-known LA studio. Why would he do this? He didn't have to go there. Another source claimed that label executives were panicking, afraid the song's revelations might damage not just Kendrick's brand, but the careers of everyone connected to him. Some were already talking about emergency meetings and damage control, while others wondered if this was just a publicity stunt gone too far. But as the hours ticked by and the views kept climbing, it became clear that Kendrick had tapped into something deeper than gossip or controversy. His lyrics spoke to anyone who'd ever felt betrayed by someone they loved, anyone who'd struggled to trust again after being hurt. In a world where so many celebrities play it safe, Kendrick's willingness to bare his soul made him even more beloved and more controversial. Radio DJs started calling in psychologists and life coaches to analyze his words, with one host saying, "This isn't just music. This is therapy for the masses." But at what cost? The fallout wasn't limited to Kendrick's family or the music industry. His fans, known for their fierce loyalty, began to fracture into camps. Some argued that Kendrick had every right to speak his truth, no matter who it hurt. Others said he'd gone too far, risking relationships and reputations for the sake of a hit song. Message boards were flooded with heated debates, as strangers shared their own stories of betrayal and forgiveness, inspired or enraged by Kendrick's confessions. One particularly vocal group of fans launched a hashtag campaign, demanding an apology from the people Kendrick had called out. Hashtag #StandWithKendrick trended for hours, with thousands sharing their support. But just as many pushed back, accusing Kendrick of dragging innocent people into the spotlight. The arguments spilled over into real life, with heated debates erupting in barbershops, classrooms, and living rooms across the country. Nobody could agree on whether Kendrick was a hero for speaking out or a villain for airing his family's dirty laundry. In the midst of all this chaos, a new twist emerged. It's an anonymous account, one that claimed to be a member of Kendrick's inner circle, began leaking screenshots of text messages that seemed to back up his story. In one exchange, a family member appeared to admit to the betrayal Kendrick had rapped about. In another, a famous producer threatened to sue if his name was mentioned in the next verse. Suddenly, what had started as a song became a full-blown scandal, with journalists racing to verify the leaks and fans hungry for every new detail. As the sun set on that first day, it was clear that nothing would ever be the same for Kendrick Lamar. Friends stopped returning calls, family members blocked each other on social media, and the music industry braced for the next round of revelations. But through it all, one question remained. Why had Kendrick chosen now to break his silence? And what would happen when the next verse dropped? As fans hunched over their phones, waiting for a response from the people at the heart of the drama, it became obvious that this was only the beginning. The song had started a fire that no one knew how to put out, and everyone was wondering who would be burned next. Just as things seemed to reach a boiling point, a single message appeared on Kendrick's Instagram story. It was a grainy photo of a family dinner, the faces half hidden in shadows. The caption read simply, "It was never about revenge." Within minutes, the internet exploded once again. What did it mean? Was Kendrick trying to make peace, or was he hinting at even deeper secrets? As speculation raged, the people closest to him prepared for what would come next because the world was watching and the story was far from over. And that right there is where the real drama was only just beginning to unfold. Overnight, as Los Angeles glimmered under the weight of headlines and speculation, Kendrick Lamar stayed completely silent. Not a single tweet, not even a cryptic retweet, just that haunting photo from the family dinner. Yet the absence of his voice only made the drama louder. News anchors debated the fallout on morning television. Gossip podcasts released emergency episodes to break down every alleged feud and betrayal hidden in his lyrics. Even Kendrick's fiercest rivals weighed in, some claiming to be the real target of his words, while others feigned sympathy, secretly delighted at the chaos. The family itself was coming apart at the seams. Kendrick's mother, always the peacemaker, spent the night calling every relative she could. "You need to talk to your brother," she pleaded with Kendrick, her voice thick with worry. His brother, stubborn and hurt, refused. He made his choice. "He put us all out there like we're just verses in his song," he snapped, slamming the phone down. The cousins, caught in the crossfire, started choosing sides. At family group chats, once filled with inside jokes, the mood turned sour. Sewing left the chat without a word. Another sent a long message about loyalty and betrayal, sparking an argument that lasted until dawn. Emotions ran high, and the family was left divided. Meanwhile, the hip-hop world smelled blood. A popular rap blog released a leaked list of names believed to be referenced in Kendrick's song. Producers, rappers, even a childhood friend who once appeared in a behind-the-scenes documentary. Suddenly, they were all fair game for internet detectives. Journalists staked out Kendrick's old neighborhood, hoping to catch a quote from anyone who'd ever known him. The atmosphere was thick with tension. Some local fans, feeling protective, pushed cameras away. "This is our city. You don't get to come here just for drama," one man told a reporter, shoving a microphone out of his face. Still, others welcomed the attention, spinning wild stories about late-night meetings and secret phone calls that had never happened. As the pressure built, one of Kendrick's closest friends, Marcus, finally broke his silence. "I wish he'd told me first," Marcus told a live Instagram audience, his voice trembling. "I get it, he's an artist, but this is real life. It's not just lyrics." The comment section erupted, some praising Marcus for speaking out, others accusing him of betrayal himself. The next day, Marcus's name trended for hours, with think pieces dissecting his friendship with Kendrick and speculating about what might have gone wrong. Just as things started to quiet down, another twist sent shockwaves through the community. A well-known music producer, widely rumored to be the one who stole from Kendrick, posted a screenshot of an old contract on his Instagram. "No secrets. The truth will come out," he wrote, daring Kendrick to clarify who the lyrics were about. Within moments, fans dissected every clause, every signature, searching for proof of betrayal or innocence. Arguments erupted on social media, with some siding with the producer and others with Kendrick. It seemed everyone had a stake in the drama, and nobody was backing down. All this noise began to take a toll on Kendrick. A close friend shared that he hadn't left his apartment in days. "He's always been private, but this is different. He's carrying a weight I've never seen before," the friend confessed. Rumors spread that Kendrick's label had scheduled a private meeting, desperate to do damage control and stop any further leaks. But even behind closed doors, the atmosphere was charged. Some insiders wanted Kendrick to apologize publicly to clear up any confusion. Others argued that he should double down, release a part 2 that would silence all doubters and cement his legacy as hip-hop's most fearless storyteller out on the streets. Fans rallied. Murals appeared overnight, some painting Kendrick as a saint, others as a fallen hero. A protest formed outside his label's office, with young people chanting lyrics from the controversial song and holding up signs demanding the real story. But as fans argued, family fractured, and industry giants plotted their next moves, Kendrick's silence became almost unbearable. Then, just when the city thought it couldn't get more dramatic, an audio clip leaked online. The recording, allegedly, from a private family meeting, caught Kendrick's voice trembling with emotion. "I never wanted to hurt anyone," he said quietly. "But if I stay silent, I'm not being true to myself." Another voice, his brother's, raw and angry, shot back, "Your truth ruined us." The internet went wild, debating whether the leak was real, who could have released it, and what it meant for the Lamar family's future. The backlash reached new heights. Brands linked to Kendrick paused their sponsorships, waiting to see which way public opinion would swing. Rival rappers dropped their own response tracks, some supporting Kendrick's honesty, others calling him reckless. One particularly savage diss track called him a traitor with a mic, while another praised him for having the guts to say what everyone else was too scared to admit. Fans around the world took sides, filling comment sections with essays, reaction videos, and passionate debates. "He's just telling his story. That's what real art is," one young woman declared in a viral TikTok. Another, with tears in her eyes, confessed, "I feel like my own family drama is playing out." In his song, suddenly, Kendrick's pain belonged to everyone. But even as the world fought over his words, Kendrick himself seemed to retreat further into isolation. Friends texted him with no reply. His team handled all communication, putting out vague statements about artistic integrity and healing. Yet, with every hour that passed, the stakes grew higher, and the world waited for Kendrick to make the next move. The city buzzed with rumors of a follow-up song, another round of confessions that would either mend the damage or blow the rift even wider. And as day faded into night, fans everywhere wondered what could possibly come next, and would Kendrick ever find peace in the chaos he'd unleashed? With everyone's eyes glued to their screens, the story was far from over, and every heartbeat felt like the countdown to the next revelation. As the days crawled by, tension thickened like smoke over the city. Even the weather felt strange, rain pounding the streets of Compton as if the sky itself was mourning. Everywhere you went, from corner stores to downtown radio stations, people argued about Kendrick. Some whispered about a secret meeting held at his mother's house, a desperate attempt by the family to mend the wounds. Others claimed to have seen Kendrick walking alone at night, hoodie up, lost in thought and shadow. The rumors grew wilder. A close friend said Kendrick was preparing a tell-all interview, while a tabloid insisted he was about to leave Los Angeles for good. Meanwhile, the drama online reached fever pitch. Fans flooded Reddit threads with elaborate theories, trying to connect the dots between old tweets, unreleased tracks, and cryptic Instagram posts. One post, with thousands of upvotes, claimed that Kendrick's cousin had been paid off to stay silent. Another user dug up a 10-year-old photo of Kendrick with the producer at the center of the controversy, zooming in on their body language, looking for signs of betrayal. Even back then, fan accounts shared side-by-side comparisons, off-song lyrics, and real-life events, treating the story like a murder mystery where everyone was a suspect and nobody was innocent. The family, battered and raw, struggled to hold on to any sense of normalcy. Kendrick's mother became a prisoner of her own phone, glued to group chats as she tried to mediate from afar. She sent message after message, pleading for understanding. But every new text seemed to trigger fresh arguments. One cousin finally snapped, sending a voice note that leaked online within hours. "He could have talked to us. Instead, he turned our pain into profit." The voice, shaky and exhausted, echoed across social media, fueling even more outrage. Comments poured in, with strangers picking sides, some accusing the family of being selfish, others blaming Kendrick for going public, In the midst of all this noise, an unlikely figure stepped forward. Maya, Kendrick's childhood friend, had always been loyal but quiet, never seeking the spotlight. Suddenly, she went live on Instagram, tears streaming down her face. "None of y'all really know him," she said, her voice breaking. "He's carrying pain you can't imagine. But maybe this is the only way he knows how to heal." For a moment, the internet seemed to pause. People shared her video far and wide, calling it the most honest reaction yet. Even the harshest critics admitted they felt something shift. Maybe a flicker of empathy for the man at the center of the storm. Meanwhile, Kendrick's label faced its own crisis. Internal emails leaked, showing frantic debates over whether to pull the song or double down with a massive press campaign. Some execs argued that controversy meant more streams, more attention, more money. Others warned that they were gambling with real people's lives. A leaked email from a high-ranking executive read, "We're not just selling music. We're selling pain. Are we ready for that?" The world got a glimpse behind the curtain. And not everyone liked what they saw. But the biggest twist came when a rival rapper, one with whom Kendrick had a long and bitter history, dropped his own diss track. The song was a masterclass in shade-sharp lyrics, brutal truths, and a hook that called Kendrick a poet with a vendetta. Overnight, fans compared verses, dissected every bar, and argued over who was really speaking their truth. Industry insiders watched nervously, fearing an all-out rap war that would spill beyond music and into real life. Amidst the chaos, Kendrick finally surfaced briefly. He was spotted at a community center, quietly handing out food to kids, his head down, face tight with exhaustion. No cameras, no press. Just a few grainy cell phone shots that ended up on Twitter with captions like, "Real one, and he never left us." Even as the world demanded answers, Kendrick stayed silent, letting his actions speak louder than any lyric. That night, a radio station played the song on loop, inviting callers to share their stories of betrayal, forgiveness, and family drama. The lines were jammed for hours. One caller, her voice trembling, said, "I don't know Kendrick, but I feel like he's telling my story too." Another admitted, "I'm scared to speak my truth because I don't want to lose the people I love." The song became more than a headline. It was a mirror for thousands who'd suffered in silence. As another dawn broke over Los Angeles, the city buzzed with anticipation. There were rumors that Kendrick's brother was preparing a public response to law video that would finally reveal his side of the story. Fans waited, refreshing their feeds, desperate for the next chapter. Some hoped for reconciliation, others braced for more pain. One thing was clear, the saga was nowhere near finished. And the next verse, whether in music, on social media, or in the family's living room, could change everything. The world was holding its breath, waiting for the truth, or at least, for someone to claim it. And as Kendrick stared out at the city from his window, he knew that whatever came next, he could never go back to the way things were. The song had cracked open something that would never fully heal, and everyone was waiting to see what would pour out next. The city seemed to hold its breath as everyone waited for Kendrick's brother to finally break his silence. Rumors swirled all morning. Was he going to do a live interview, drop a diss track of his own, or release that rumored video statement? Fans and haters alike camped out on every social media platform. Notifications switched on, ready to pounce. Industry insiders whispered that the family had tried one last intervention the night before. A tense meeting at their childhood home that ended with slammed doors and tear-streaked faces. Outside the house, paparazzi circled like vultures, hoping for a glimpse of Kendrick, his brother, or any sign that the drama was coming to a head. Late in the afternoon, as the sun dipped low and painted the city in gold, a notification flashed. On millions of phones, Kendrick's brother had posted a video to his account. He sat alone in a dimly lit room, eyes heavy, voice raw. "I never wanted any of this," he began, words heavy with emotion. "But since my pain is already public, here's the truth you haven't heard." He talked about the years of brotherhood, the shared dreams and heartbreaks, the moments when fame drew them closer, and the ones where it pushed them apart. He accused Kendrick of using their struggles for clout, of turning private moments into public spectacle. "It's easy to tell your story," he said quietly, "when you're the only one with a microphone." The world watched in silence. Some moved to tears, others burning with fresh anger. The comment section became a battlefield, fans begging the brothers to reconcile, critics piling on with blame and speculation. As the video made the rounds, more voices joined the conversation. Kendrick's closest friends weighed in, some defending his right to tell his truth, others quietly distancing themselves from the spotlight. A family member went live on Facebook, trying to clarify things, but only adding fuel to the fire. "None of us are perfect," she said, tears running down her cheeks. "But this isn't how we wanted our pain shared with the world." Everywhere, emotions ran high and old wounds reopened. Even fans who once felt sure about whose side they were on now wavered. On Reddit and Twitter, people posted long threads re-examining everything from childhood photos to old interview clips, searching for clues to what really happened. Podcasts dedicated full episodes to the feud, inviting therapists to weigh in on family trauma and the ethics of using art as therapy. The drama had jumped from music to mainstream news, with morning shows airing segments called Kendrick's Family Crisis, when art gets too real. As the dust settled on the video, Kendrick finally broke his silence with a midnight tweet. "I never meant to hurt my family. I just wanted to be honest with myself and my fans. I hope one day we can heal." The message was simple, vulnerable, and left even more questions than answers. Some fans rallied behind him, sharing their own stories of pain and forgiveness. Others felt let down, believing some things should never be shared, no matter how powerful the art. At the same time, industry leaders were still in full damage control mode. Some brands quietly resumed partnerships, their teams convinced the worst had passed. Others cut ties for good, claiming the drama had gotten too messy. One rival rapper tweeted, "Real, recognize real, but sometimes you gotta keep your family out the studio." His words went viral, igniting a new round of debate about authenticity, loyalty, and the true cost of creative freedom. Through it all, Kendrick's music continued to climb the charts. The song, once just a new release, was now a cultural event, dissected in college classrooms and debated in living rooms around the world. At open mic nights, young poets performed their own verses about family pain, inspired by Kendrick's courage, or, depending on who you asked, his recklessness. The line between art and reality had blurred, and everyone felt its sting. Then, just as it seemed things might finally quiet down, Kendrick's producer Silent Until Now released a statement of his own. He admitted to mistakes made, hinted at private conversations, and ended with a plea for peace. "Music is meant to heal, not to divide," he wrote, echoing what so many fans felt but were too afraid to say out loud. The post went viral, some calling it the olive branch everyone needed, others dismissing it as too little, too late. But the truth was, there were no easy fixes left. Kendrick and his family, forever changed, would have to find a new way forward if that was even possible. And as the world watched, still hungry for more drama, one thing became certain: nothing would ever be the same again. For Kendrick, for his family, or for anyone who had listened and felt the ripple of his pain, the final chapter was yet to be written, and everyone, fans, critics, and family alike, wondered if true healing could ever come after a song like this. The days after the producer's heartfelt post brought a strange quiet to the chaos. But beneath the surface, nothing had truly settled. Kendrick, once the city's most private poet, had become an unwilling symbol of pain, of honesty, of the impossible line between truth and loyalty. Some days, he stayed locked away, working on music late into the night, trying to find solace in the only language he trusted. Other days, he wandered the city alone, headphones on, avoiding every familiar face. While headlines speculated wildly about his next move, his brother's video continued to make waves, drawing fresh attention each time it was reposted or dissected by a new influencer. Schools, radio shows, and even church groups discussed the feud, turning it into a kind of parable about pride, betrayal, and forgiveness. Meanwhile, the family's group chat fell eerily silent. Days passed without a single message, until finally their mother broke down and called a family meeting not online, but at their grandmother's house, the one place that still felt safe. The reunion was tense from the moment everyone walked in. The air was thick with unsaid words, memories both sweet and bitter. Kendrick arrived last, his eyes wary but determined. For a long time, no one spoke. Finally, their mother started crying, whispering that she just wanted her sons back. Kendrick's brother stared at the floor, fists clenched, jaw tight. "I'm tired of being a lyric," he said, voice shaking. "I'm tired of hurting every time you need a new verse." Kendrick replied quietly, "I was hurting too. I didn't know any other way to speak my truth." The room filled with stories that had never been told via fights, secrets, and disappointments. At times, the argument flared up again, each brother blaming the other for not listening, not caring enough, not understanding the weight each carried. At other moments, there was laughter at old memories, a flicker of hope that maybe things could go back to what they were. The rest of the family watched, hearts in their throats, unsure if they were witnessing the beginning of healing or another wound being torn open. Meanwhile, the outside world refused to let go of the drama. Fans sent gifts and letters to Kendrick's label, begging him to keep making music. Others camped outside his shows, holding signs that read, "Family First" and "Truth Hurts." Social media was awash with reaction videos to every new development. Some people cried on camera, others raged or mocked, but no one seemed able to look away. Late-night hosts joked about the Kendrick saga, and magazine covers screamed headlines like, "Can the Lamars forgive?" Even rivals, once eager to see Kendrick stumble, started to rethink their approach. A few reached out privately, admitting their own fears about blurring the lines between art and real life. One sent Kendrick a message, saying, "You went where none of us had the guts to go. Just be careful, you're not alone out here, even when it feels like it." It was a strange sort of comfort, and for the first time since the song dropped, Kendrick felt a flicker of relief. Maybe, he thought, the pain he caused could spark conversations that needed to happen, not just in his own family, but in countless others. One afternoon, as word spread about the family meeting, fans started sharing their own stories of reconciliation. Posts popped up everywhere. Siblings reuniting after years of silence. Parents reaching out to estranged children, old friends making amends. For all the division and pain, there was also a ripple of hope, as if Kendrick's song had given others permission to confront their own wounds. The comments were filled with gratitude and sometimes anger at the way art could force truth into the light. The Lamar's family meeting ended in an uneasy truce. No one expected miracles, but at least they were speaking. Kendrick's brother agreed to meet again privately, this time away from the glare of social media. Their mother insisted on weekly dinners, desperate to knit the family together before fame could tear it further apart. There were still awkward silences and unspoken resentments, but something fundamental had shifted. Maybe the wound was still fresh, but it was finally out in the open, no longer festering in darkness. Back in the studio, Kendrick poured everything into his music. The next song he wrote was softer, full of longing and apology. a letter to the people he loved and the city that had both blessed and cursed him. He recorded it in a single night, voice trembling with emotion, and sent it to his brother before anyone else heard it. The response was a single, tearful voice message. "Thank you. Maybe we'll be okay." It was more than Kendrick had dared. Hopeful, as the weeks went on, the world's attention shifted another scandal. Another viral moment, but for those who had followed every twist in the Kendrick saga, the echoes lingered. Therapists and counselors reported a surge in clients wanting to talk about family wounds, inspired by the story that had played out so publicly. Hip-hop fans debated what it meant for artists to share so much, and whether some things really were better left unsaid. Kendrick's single quotes as album topped the charts for weeks, but for him, numbers mattered less now. What stuck with him were the messages from fans who said his pain had helped them face their own. In interviews, Kendrick spoke quietly, almost reluctantly, about what he'd learned. That truth can heal, but it can also hurt. That family is messy, and sometimes love means facing the ugliest parts of ourselves. "I don't have all the answers," he said, "but I know I'm not alone." The city slowly returned to its rhythms. The Lamars still had a long way to go, but something fundamental had changed. Kendrick's music felt different, now wounded, yes, but wiser, braver. He understood that telling your story comes with consequences, and that some scars never fade. But if you're lucky, they can teach you how to love a little deeper. And for everyone who watched the saga unfold, one lesson rang true. Sometimes the hardest stories to tell are the ones that set us free. As Kendrick walked through his neighborhood, head high, he knew that whatever came next, he had found his voice, and that was something no scandal could ever take away. As the dust began to settle on one of hip-hop's most dramatic chapters, the world was left reflecting not just on Kendrick's courage or the wounds his honesty reopened, but on the ripple effect his truth sent through families and fans everywhere. People who once judged from afar now found themselves looking inward, wondering what secrets their own lives held and how much pain could hide behind a few well-chosen words. Kendrick's family, still fragile but determined, took slow steps toward healing, proving that even the deepest cuts can begin to mend if everyone is willing to listen. And yet, for every moment of hope, new questions hung in the air. Would the Lamars ever find their way back to the closeness they'd lost? Is Kendrick right to share his pain with the world? Or did he cross a line that can't be uncrossed? And what about those who saw themselves in his story? Would they find the strength to confront their own truths, or would fear keep them silent? The music, the drama, the raw honesty, none of it came with easy answers. And maybe that's what made it all so unforgettable. Now, we want to hear from you. Do you think Kendrick's song went too far? Or was it the kind of honesty the world needs more of? Have you ever experienced a family drama that changed you forever? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below. This conversation is just getting started, and your story matters as much as Kendrick's. If you want to see what happens next, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Trust us, you won't want to miss part 2 of this saga, because when it comes to truth, forgiveness, and family, there's always another chapter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.